got the right
now
time.
if he's available. All right. I know, I thought it was a
He's
little
never.
Justin, you'll be on.
Yes, but we have to.
Okay, so we'll pray and because Alex and I both have to.
I'm not trying to like do it.
We
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
I mean, life is fairly simple, so I can do it.
I can only imagine
If I get
when all I do is
this is how I
forever,
can do precepts.
forever
So I
worship
mean,
you.
this is somewhat
Get
cool,
up there.
but I'm already money.
Mara.
I can only imagine.
Lexi. Mara. You two are twins. Come on. Oh, feel that.
Brick by brick, I build haunted. Alabama, Arkansas, I do love my mom, Paul, not the way that I do love you.
Well, holy moly, realize you're the apple of my eye. Girl, I never loved one like you.
Man, oh man, you're my best friend. I'm screaming too. There's nothing there. There ain't nothing that I need.
Well, hot and heavy pumpkin pie, chocolate candy, Jesus Christ, there ain't nothing please me more than you.
Let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Take me home. Mommy, I'm coming home.
I followed you into the park, through the jungle, through the dark. Girl, I never loved one like you.
Boats and boats and waterfalls, alleyways and payphone calls. I've been everywhere with you.
That's true. Laughed until we think we're down. Barefoot on the summer night. Never could be sweeter than with you.
And in the streets you run free, like it's only you and me. Choose you're something to see. Let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Take me home. Mommy, I'm coming home.
Jay,
Alexander,
do you remember that day you fell out of my window?
I sure do. You came jumping out after me.
Well, you fell on the concrete, nearly broke your ass, and you were bleeding all over the place, and I rushed you out to the hospital. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Well, there's something I never told you about that, right?
What did you tell me?
While you were sitting in the back seat smoking a cigarette you thought was going to be your last, I was falling deep, deeply in love with you. And I never told you what we all say. Trying to cause a big sensation. Just talking about my generation. My generation, baby. Why don't y'all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say. Try to cause big sensation. Just talking about my generation. My generation. This is my generation, baby. My generation. People try to put us to down. My generation. Just because we can get around. My generation. Things ain't doing awful cold. My generation. I might die before I get old. Generation.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky, or a beautiful sunrise. Well, there's so much they hold, and just like them old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? Well, I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up, and when you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find. Even the stars, they burn. Some even fall to the earth. We got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth wanna be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got here. We got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not, and who I am. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up, I'm still looking up. Well, I won't give up on us. God knows I'm tough. He knows we got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up.
Arrows flying into silence, broken pieces lying around where it went down. Water rising back to silence, quietly crying, wondering how. And look at us now. We thought our love would take the world by storm. Are we too far apart? Two worlds among the stars. You're gonna take a piece of my heart if you leave. So it's two separate ways, or am I too late to say? I wanna fight for what we got, 'cause I believe in family. In family. So are we still trying, or simply surviving, facing these giants? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. But I still believe in the dreams we've been dreaming. The hope that we built on is never too far. It's never too far. If we choose to turn and let these walls fall down. Are we too far apart? Two worlds among the stars. You're gonna take a piece of my heart if you leave. So it's two separate ways, or am I too late to say? I wanna fight for what we got, 'cause I believe in family. In family. In family. I still believe. I still believe that we're not too far apart. Two worlds among the stars. Don't take a piece of my heart. Please don't leave. It's not too late to say, Father, show us the way to fight for what we got, 'cause you believe.
on top of 4 legs. It's got a few coffee stains and 1,000 marks from God knows when. Ain't too many things that can stand the test of time, but this family table's held together by love that never dies. So won't you come on in? Supper's almost done. Go ahead and call your friends, 'cause we got room for everyone. Let's make some memories round this 9-foot pie. Pull up a chair and stay a while at the family table. Family table. It's the cornerstone that held us all up through the best of times and made our way when times got tough. We blew the candles out and I walked through time. This family table's bound together by love that never dies. Won't you come on in? Supper's almost done. Go ahead and call your friends, 'cause we got room for everyone. Let's make some memories round this 9-foot pie. Pull up a chair, stay a while. Gather round hand in hand, close our eyes and bow our heads. Thank the Lord for everything He's done, and for everyone at the family table. So please come on in. When your work is done, go ahead and wash your hands. Gather around with everyone, making memories round this 9-foot pie. No other place can ease your mind like the family table. Family table. Like a family table. Family table.
I'm gonna need you to raise your glass. I don't care what you put in it. Here's the nights that you can't take back. We live hard, but we love to laugh. And we all thought that we'd get rich fast. Hopped the plane out for greener grass. Found out the greenest cash don't compare to the friends that last. See, we won't forget where we came from. The city won't change us. We beat to the same drum. No, we won't forget where we came from. This city can't change us. We beat to the same drum, the same drum. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. So here's to the cheap sunglasses, Red Bull and minivans, and people who had your back when the world didn't understand. See, we won't forget where we came from. The city won't change us. We beat to the same drum. No, we won't forget where we came from. The city can't change us. We beat to the same drum, the same drum. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. When time's losing, we're losing touch and fading away. We'll still
Good morning. Hey, here we are. Good morning, New Life. Welcome. Hey, my name's Elise, and I get to be your MC this morning, so you're going to see me up here a few times throughout our transitions and different things in the morning. We love to start off our Sundays with some amazing music, so we're going to get on that. I want you to feel free to sit down, stand up, raise your hands, clap, sing out loud, or just take it in. There are no rules here. Justin is one of our leaders up here, and he is going to get us started. Enjoy.
1, 2. All right, I know it's early, but we are gonna get up and get moving. So you feel free to move around if you want. Day after day, you never change. Ever the same, there's hope in you. You are the fire that's burning bright. Ever you reign, so we're lifting you high. Everybody. 1, 2, 3. Everybody shout, make it loud. All of heaven sing, hear the sound. Let the praises ring, glory now. Every day we live to praise you. Breath after breath, we're so high. Ever you change, 'cause you rescued our lives. First and the last, no one in between. Ever the king, you're the song that we sing. Everybody. Everybody. 1, 2, 3, here we go! Everybody shout, make it loud. All of heaven sing, hear the sound. Let the praises ring, glory now. Every day we live to praise you. You may be coming in and that song resonates with you. You're full of the joy of the Lord and you're ready to go. And some of you may have had a hard time getting up this morning and standing. Maybe there's fear or lies getting whispered into your ears. It's making it hard to stand. And so this is a song about how our fear and those lies don't stand a chance against God's love. When darkness tries to roll over my bones, when sorrow comes to steal the joy I own, when brokenness and pain is all I know, I won't be shaken. No, I won't be shaken. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Oh, shame no longer has a place to hide, and I am not a captive to the lies. I'm not afraid to leave my past behind. I won't be shaken. I won't be shaken. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out a grave. There's resurrection power that can save. There's power in your name. There's power in your name. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Stand in your love. Stand
Jesus, you brought heaven down. My sin was great, your love was greater. What could separate us now? What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a wonderful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. Death could not hold you. Veil tore before you. Silence the boast of sin and grave. The heavens are roaring, praise of your glory. For you are raised to life again. You have no rival, you have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. You have no rival. You have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom. Yours is the glory. Yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of
You can go ahead and grab a seat. How can we sing that? How can we believe that? Well, because we believe that there was a person named Jesus who claimed to be God, who allowed himself to be arrested, tried, ultimately executed on a cross. And as we just sang about, he overcame death, came back to life, appeared to over 500 people. That is why We can sing that. What a powerful, wonderful, beautiful name. This morning, we're going to take some time and remember Jesus through what we call communion. This is a chance for us to remember what Jesus did on the cross. And we take a piece of bread, which represents his body broken for us. We take a cup of juice, which represents his blood poured out for us. And we just do it to remember what he did. You know, as we sang, the veil tore before you, which sounds really cool and poetic, but what that really means is actually when he died, there was a curtain in the temple that split in two. And that was the curtain that separated us from God. Only priests could go in there once a year, and they would tie a rope around themselves in case they died while they were in there, because nobody else could go in. And that was it. And that broke, like cut straight to it. I could be wrong, but I thought it was like 3 feet thick. I mean, it was like a real curtain. And that's a symbol of us being able to now be in God's presence. It's open to everybody. That's what Jesus did. And so this morning, wherever you find yourself, just know that that death gave you access to God. This morning, at any point, you have access to God. And so we're going to just remember that and thank God for that. Let's pray together. God, we thank you for the cross, and we remember now what you've done, that sacrifice. What a wonderful thing you've done, God. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. If you don't feel comfortable participating in communion, that's okay. You can just pass the tray on.
What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a wonderful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a wonderful name it is.
Thank you guys so much. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Good morning. Welcome to New Life. Whether you're here or watching online, welcome. If you were not in here before, my name's Elise, and I am part of the administrative staff at New Life here, and I get to be your MC this morning. For you, that threw me off, sorry. I don't get applause every day. If you are a regular here, we are switching it up on you, and so you're going to see me more than once up here. Do not be alarmed. Stick in your seats. I will walk you through it every step of the way, okay? So, how are you? Are you good this morning? Yes. Are you happy to see the sun? Yes. Me too. Did anyone get flooded in? I was seeing stories all over the place of people not being able to get to work or not being able to leave their home. Did that happen to anybody here? No, nobody lost power. Y'all fared pretty well. Yeah, you lost power? All right, well, I'm glad you made it in. I'm glad the flooding has subsided. Let's start here. Let's grab your program. You should have received this on your way in. If you did not, please scoot back. On the tables, there are more programs. You grab one. I'm going to walk you through this. So let's start with the place that says Start Here. This is our Start Here card. This is how you connect with us, and we get to connect with you. So this is for you, whether this is your first time here or you've been here 1,000 times. It has a place for you to fill out your information. We will not spam you. This is sacred information to us. We will respect it. If you're brand new, you will receive a welcome email, but that's about it, okay? And on the back side, you have places where you can mark things if you're interested in serving on or trying out some of our teams. You can put some prayer requests. Our pastoral staff and a prayer team prays over you every week, and we're happy to hear what's going on in your life and celebrate with you. So that is what that is. And you actually have time. We are changing it up, and we're going to pass the baskets to collect these at the end of the service. Well, I thought that would get applause. Oh my gosh. I was ready to cheer you on. I think that's fantastic. You have more time to get that filled out. Okay, next up. You're going to see a flyer about Mexico missions trip. You guys, we are starting to gather a group of people, you see it on the screen, to go to Mexico. I went on this Mexico missions trip 7 years ago. It was my first time. My husband and I went. It was incredible. I learned so much. I don't know if you're like me. I grew up mainly in Ohio. So I did not get a lot of cultural experiences. A lot of corn experience, I did. I know a lot about corn, not about different cultures. So this was great for me. I got to learn a ton. I learned a ton about myself. I learned a ton about God. I got to ask some tough questions. I got to see things that I have never seen before in America. Things that broke my heart, things that gave me hope. It was amazing. So I highly recommend you check this out if you have ever thought about going on a missions trip. It's perfect for a first-timer. There's a lot of seasoned veterans, if you will, that go on this trip, so you'll be taken care of well. And even if you've been on a lot of trips, it's a great one to go on. Next up is our community update. Oh, I'm passionate about this, you guys. So we started having community updates at the end of last year, and this is our way to keep you, our New Life community, in the know of what is happening behind the scenes, because you are not in our weekly staff meetings, and, well, monthly staff meetings, but we have lots of other weekly meetings that go on. So every month, the topic changes. This month is Next Gen strategies. So Next Gen is birth through 18. There's a lot of things that are changing. There's a lot of things we're dreaming about. I would want to come check this out, whether you have kids, whether you don't have kids, you're an auntie, an uncle, a grandparent, you know somebody that has kids. Come check this out, hear what we're doing. You get to meet the leaders of the teams, the new leaders of the teams that are coming on. You get to hear about what's going to change in our curriculum, what's going to change on our campus. There are big things going on, so don't miss that. That is next Sunday at 2 o'clock, and you do not need to RSVP. You can just show up, but if you have kids and you want childcare, please mark your Start Here card. At the bottom of that card, there's a place for you to mark it. Please do that so that I can be prepared for you. If you have questions about that, my email's at the bottom of that. Shoot me an email. I'm sorry, I missed the Mexico missions. If you have questions about that, we have a kiosk out in the lobby. You can go out there and get all your questions answered and hear from some people who have been on that trip, okay? Next is our investment envelope is what I would call this. So if you are regular at New Life and you are invested in this church and you came prepared to give, this is the envelope you can use. You can also text to give. Yeah, that's up there. If you are brand new, please don't feel any obligation to give. An investment is something that you look into that, you make sure your values line up, you make sure that what this organization does is what you want to be moving forward with. So if you're brand new, please don't feel any obligation to give. Figure out why you would invest here first, okay? Lastly is our note page. So if you take notes, this is your friend. This is my friend every week. I am a note taker. If you missed last week's sermon, these are to the teaching. If you missed last week's teaching, you can listen to it. It says at the bottom here where you can find the podcasts. I would recommend that. This is actually a part 2. Last week, Ron talked about the first 3 things kids need over time, and Angela is going to walk us through the next 3 things kids need over time. So with that, I will let you, we're going to have a video here for you to watch, and Angela will come up and teach.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Good morning. My name is Angela, and welcome. I'd like to add my warmest welcome to Elisa's awesome welcome. Good morning. She's right. It's part 2 of 6 things that kids need over time. And as I was praying through today and what we would talk about, these are 6 things we need over time. I mean, kids are just mini us's, right? And our human needs don't change. So I was totally convicted. In fact, I've got my reading list up here on one of the things we're going to talk about today. I hope that today, that I can help you catch up with whatever you might have missed last week, but also that today hits 2 parts of your heart space. The part that is pulling for that girl in that video and the next generation that we are looking to empower. But I also hope in your own heart space, there is a tug for, I deserve these things. I need these things. I'm going to fuel my life with these things, these 6 things over time. So this morning, we are hitting 4, 5, and 6, but we will do a little recap. But in order to learn best, I think it's great if you have a picture in your head. So we're actually going to start out, it's going to be kind of interactive today, I promise. It's all voluntary. I promise I will not call on you. But I would like to start with a picture in our heads. So, one, if you're comfortable closing your eyes, we're going to do a little visualization right now. If you're not comfortable, I would pull out Elisa's friend, the note sheet, and doodle as we go, because we're going to take just a minute to picture what we're talking about. So, I'm going to close my eyes because I'm comfortable. Pull out your note sheet and doodle if you'd like. But I'd like you to get a face in your mind's eye of a kid that you know personally, somebody in your immediate world. If you're a parent, you're welcome to pick one of your kids, or you're welcome to pick another kid if that is easier. But I want you to get a clear picture in your head of that face. If it's a preschooler, then they're looking up at you. If it's a middle schooler, they're maybe looking eye to eye. If they're a high schooler, lots of them are towering over me these days. I want you to get a clear enough picture of that face that you've got them at the right height. You can picture their eye color, their hair color. You can picture them smiling. You can picture their skeptic face. Like, get that picture in your mind. And then I want to fast forward to an older version of that same kid. And this, future version of that kid, I want you to picture what they look like when they have a deep and rich shared history with you, where you could say, remember the time where you can say, I remember when you were just blank years old and you were totally blank. I want you to picture that future version of that kid, and they have a deep and resilient sense of worth. They know themselves. They know their place. They know they're significant. And I want you to picture that future tense of that kid who has a solid sense of direction. Not the kind of direction where they know exactly the career path and the college path that they're going to take, but the kind of sense of direction that even when life throws them a curveball, they don't veer off course. Like, they know where they're going in life. I want you to picture that person, that future version, who has a worldview that is, they are part of a global citizenship, and they hold deep empathy for people. They know how to express compassion. They know how to express their own emotions. They know how to walk in somebody else's shoes. I want you to picture that future version of that kid belly laughing, like letting it roll. There's a certain belly laugh. We all have a laugh that when we try to suppress it, it just flies out anyway. What's that version? Where they know how to have fun and let loose and are so comfortable in their skin that something like a belly laugh is totally comfortable. And you're sharing it together. Do you have a picture? I can't ask you to nod because my eyes are closed because I'm picturing. Do you have a picture? Can you picture that? Okay, I got some. Okay, so today, you can open your eyes or you can still doodle if you want to. Today, as we talk about these 6 things over time, when I picture what that looks like, I think, oh my word, what kind of an employee is that future kid? What kind of citizen? What kind of friend? What kind of parent? Somebody that has those perspectives and those values and that kind of bedrock in them. What kind of a future? It's beautiful. It's stunning. It's limitless. It's fantastic. I think our world, if you put a room full of that kind of person together, man, those people are making an impact. Those people are making a splash at their jobs. Those people are inventing. It's a stunning thing. And our world needs that kind of person. I think our world needs our voices into the next generation in a serious way. But I get into conversations sometimes where I think we get a little bit where we feel like, well, these kids these days, they're always on their phones, right? Right? We get a little that way, like these kids. I don't think the next generation needs our voices in their worlds to fix them. I think the next generation needs our voices in their worlds to empower them, to raise them up, to set a foundation underneath them where they can walk through life with this sense of direction and worth and perspective. I think it is everybody's responsibility. When I picture those kids, and it's probably because I'm a little bit biased since I'm not a parent, that I think it takes a whole community. I'm telling you, it takes a whole community because I really want to say in the next generation. I really want to be part of the voices that empowers the next generation. And when I picture citizens like that, they have a myriad of voices in their lives, a variety of voices speaking into their worlds. And I want us, this community, to be those voices. The teaching series that we're in is called One Voice, We Can Do More Together. And the intent is that if together we will talk about these 6 things that kids need over time, then families can be infusing these 6 things, but the influencers around those families can be pushing in as well. And I love the fact that all 6 of these things increase in their influence in kids' lives over time. So Ron last week covered that time together over a span of time creates a shared history, and there's a boatload of power in that. That words over time, not just one time saying, I love you, I think you're incredible, I can't wait to see what you're gonna do with your life, but that words over time produce a sense of solid direction, and that love over time, repeatedly demonstrated, repeatedly said, very comfortably shared, love over time produces a sense of worth. And that's true peer to peer. That's one of those things that is like, gosh, there's nothing on that list I don't need from the people in my world. My empowerment comes from those things, from a myriad of voices into my life, that those 3 things build a foundation. And we're going to talk about 3 more today, but all 6 of these gain momentum. Ron talked about the flywheel, that at first it's like you push, you put. Is anybody watching the Titan games? It's going to seem odd. No. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson put on a TV show that you're not watching? All right. Well, the Titan games, there's part of it where they have to push over a 1,000-pound wall, and the men do it one way, and the women competitors do it a different way. Watching the women is so flippin' exciting to me. I just love it. But they have to run at it with their full body weight, but they have to rock it. They cannot get 1,000 pounds over in one fell swoop. Ron talked about a flywheel that you push and you push and you push, and it's like, is anything happening here? And then the flywheel starts to roll, and it gains its own momentum because it's so heavy. Same thing, Titan games. I highly recommend it. Beautiful stories. Anyway, all 6 of these things gain power over time. Time is the consistent in each of these formulas of influence. And God created these things to speak to a deep part of us, but they are, Ron said it last week, better caught than taught. And here we are teaching you. Hopefully also modeling over the coming years. So our 4th thing we're going to talk about, the new one today, is that tribes and what tribes do over time. And a tribe is just a group of people that you share something in common with. It's not rocket science. You have all kinds of tribes in your world. I have just recently joined a soccer tribe. And that's something. I'm brand new to that sport. I'm out of shape, and I'm not terribly athletic, but that tribe and I are finding our way through. And there's something powerful saying, I'm a soccer player. I feel more like I play soccer than I'm a soccer player, but they seem to be accepting me into the tribe anyway. But tribes over time produce a sense of belonging. That's what they do. The thing that they share in common begins to be a title that we could wear on each other. I'm a new lifer, and I love it. That's part of my tribe. I'm a daughter. That speaks to my tribe. I would love to be part of the parenting tribe. I think you guys have an incredible tribe. As you swap stories and you have this sense of belonging, this is where I belong, is the kind of value statement that come out of people that have strong tribes. These are my people. I am their loved one. Tribes over time produce a sense of belonging, and I believe God designed 2 key places where tribes happen, 2 institutions where tribes happen. One is family, and the other is church. These are incredibly powerful places to define your tribes. They're not the only tribes we belong to, but there's one key element in both of these things that I think was totally God's design. That the distinctive of these two tribes, different from the soccer team that you play on or the band that you play. Actually, band might totally approve. You'll see as we go. But one of the key distinctives of these two things is this concept of grace. That yes, my soccer team, I totally whiffed a perfect goal attempt. I mean, I literally missed the ball. And I had to scream, "I'm so sorry, girls, I'm so sorry," as we're running to recover the lost ball. There's a certain amount of forgiveness in soccer. There's a certain amount of forgiveness in any tribe that you're part of. But there is something about tribes over time that are deep and rich, like family and church, where you are known, you are seen, you struggle together over time, and the demonstration of grace and forgiveness cements that tribe in a way that other kind of tribes cannot hold a candle to. And the more tribes that we belong to, the firmer our foundation over time. But these two institutions that God put together have this basis of grace in them. We struggle together, we fail together, we try together, we get back up, we forgive each other. In fact, there's a story that most people, whether you have a church background or not, know, called the prodigal son. And it tells a story of a guy who had a brother, and they would have inherited their family's inheritance. But the younger brother said, "I want mine now, and I'm out of here." And he abandoned his tribe in an incredibly disrespectful way and left for years and squandered the entire thing. And when he came to his senses in the middle of a famine while he was feeding pigs and contemplating eating their food, he realized, wait, I had a pretty good tribe. And I'm pretty sure if I went back there, I would be accepted back into that tribe. And the story is found in Luke. And it tells the story of a tribe who accepted him back in and threw a party. It wasn't even like, okay, you could come back in at the bottom level. It was like, you're back. Tribes that are based on grace do this kind of thing over and over, and that sense of belonging. I also played volleyball in high school. Total disaster. I should not have done that first year. My freshman year, played volleyball. I just got invited, and so I went for it. But I'm not competitive, and when we were crying at the end of the year over losing the tournament, it was like, this is not for me. What I did not know is that if I quit that tribe, I was out of the tribe. I don't know how many of you have been booted from a tribe, but I thought we were friends. We'd played volleyball together all year, but at the end of that year, when I quit the tribe, I had betrayed the thing that we had in common, and I didn't know it, and I was out. These are the two institutions that over time prove over and over, you belong here. You belong here. You're one of us, and they are incredibly powerful over time. So tribes over time produce belonging, and I'd like to talk to three different groups of people that are in this room about how we might apply this concept of tribes. Rather than just keep adding things onto our plate, I'll do this and do that and do this, we're going to do an application a little bit different today, because I believe we are already doing quite a bit of this stuff. If we'll just earmark it, then we can see over time we're making that effect that we want. So there's three groups of people in here. One, I'd like to speak to families. As we apply this tribe concept, I would like to talk about how Sundays and what you're doing here on Sundays is making a tribe for the next generation. I'm sure as we continue to increase and improve our next gen, that your kids are going to start dragging you to church, whether you like it or not. Because if they are getting a sense of tribe, they are loyal. Oh, can you all hear that? They begin to develop a tribe here. They have a tribe in your family, but when your family comes to this tribe on a regular basis and interacts, it is a powerful effect. The other thing I would say is if you're not doing it yet, foster the friendships that they're developing in their various departments. Anything that you do to voluntarily spend time with the tribe that they meet on Sundays, outside of Sundays, has an incredibly powerful effect. So Sundays really matter, and midweeks totally matter. Something as simple as, hey, can we take your kid out to lunch and drop them off in the afternoon? Anything you can do to foster that sense of tribe here is incredibly powerful. For influencers that are outside of families, people like me, we've talked about it over and over, but voluntary time speaks volumes to this tribe mentality and to belonging. And then forgiveness. I don't know if you are intentional. Lots of times in relationships that are a little bit more I don't know what that phrase is. The proximity is a little further out. When things go awry, sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, we're okay, and just move on with kids. We don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. Think about the power of forgiving a kid. I know it doesn't always go well. Sometimes they snub you. Sometimes they walk right by me in public. It's like, well, here I am. That forgiveness speaks volumes, and stating forgiveness. We're good. We made it through that. I'm totally fine. Yes, it's us. We can make it through this bump. That's totally fine. Super powerful. For New Life, that's one of the other, strategically as an organization, we are going to make serious shifts in this coming year to redo an emphasis inside of what we're doing on Sunday mornings, as well as using a schedule in a different way on Sunday mornings to push on this tribe concept, so that when your kid meets a kid at this tribe, they are already fostering friendships inside of what's happening on Sunday morning, so it is comfortable for you to do that voluntary time midweek. We are going to apply this concept strategically in order to have our 2 voices, or our 500 voices, working together to do more on this tribe's concept. So there's some ideas about tribe. The next thing, tribes over time produce belonging. Let me just toss one more thing in there. This morning we had a couple of kids in the lobby that were running and screaming, and it was pure joy. I mean, it was pure joy. Totally, chaotic, but pure joy. When I was praying about this concept of tribes and what this voice, this myriad of, if you're worried about it being your kid, don't. I was standing back grinning like a fool at their lovely, we should come to church like that. I don't know, we had to scream our heads off, but they were so excited to be here. We could learn a thing or two. I think that the person who should feel the most welcome at this church is a toddler throwing a tantrum. Think about the power of meeting a kid in that moment. And you might not actually be interacting, simply just standing in solidarity with the family as they work their way through that, or not judging them for that. I think one of the people that should feel the most welcome at this tribe, in this church, should be a Solon middle schooler. Hood up, arms crossed, not making eye contact. I'm telling you, if you've got the guts for it, squatting down under where the eye contact is happening, be like, hey. Oh my word, they're so annoyed. I mean, so annoyed. But it is communicating volumes. These are the people that I think should be feeling the most welcome here because of what it communicates when you meet somebody in that moment about being a tribe that is unconditional. All right, tribes over time produce belonging. We're super quick review. Time over time, it creates a shared history. Words over time gives a kid a sense of direction. Love over time produces a sense of worth. Tribes over time produce belonging. And stories over time produce perspective. Oh, stories. Something new happens when we invest in stories over time, strategically filling our lives with stories. Do not underestimate the power of stories. We might think that bedtime stories is just a ritual that we sort of slid into. Think about what happens when we, or kids, read a story about a heroine and then close that and go to bed and dream. What kinds of things cement in? Hollywood knows this. Pixar Pixar, who's crying in the 2-minute video montaging Up? Like sobbing in the silent music montage. They know the power of stories. What if we saw ourselves as story collectors and storytellers? Something new happens with stories over time. Family stories produce a very specific thing. They do the tribe concept. When you tell stories, remember the time we went on that vacation? Remember the time our car broke down? Remember the time we ate clementines in the satsumas? It was satsumas in the back of a VW Bug after we got into a car accident, and that was the only thing we had to eat, and it was dinner time, and we ate a case of satsumas waiting for the police to handle our little accident. What happens when families tell stories? Tribe is cemented and an identity is cemented. How many of you feel like when your parent tells a story about your childhood, something happens? Oh, I was like that? Oh, I love that story. Oh, that's so embarrassing. Most of the time, that's how that ends up. But something happens in our identity when family stories are shared. When culture stories are shared, something totally unique happens there. We begin to develop a worldview, how the world works, where we fit in the world, how to interact with the world, what to expect when we get out into the adult world. Something new happens when stories are shared over time. The other thing that happens when stories are shared is empathy. Elise did a perfect example of that this morning, talking about her trip to Mexico. Having experienced a cultural interaction that she had never had before, produced in her this sense of empathy. When we share stories over time, when we read stories over time, something wholly unrelated to that specific story happens. And Bible stories over time do something too. I don't know if you've ever thought about the powerful tool that God gave us in our imaginations. When we read the Bible and we see these stories of a God that is larger than life, that is interacting in a miraculous way, of heroes and heroines who are trying things that we could all, like, what? I'm sorry, you got into a pit with a lion? What? These stories ignite imagination about a God that is utterly different than what we experience in the lives of each other as we interact. And it creates a narrative about God that is so powerful in our day-to-day lives when we read the day-to-day lives of other characters. Bible stories over time do an incredibly powerful thing. They cement for us the stories that we tell ourselves about God, our faith, values in life, how life works, who we are, and who other people are as well. They cement these things when they are told over time. Do not underestimate the power of story. And you're likely already engaging in this. This is just one like, hey, take good pride in that and enjoy it. Stories are everywhere in almost every industry. In sports, they do a ton of visualization. They pre-picture what they want to happen, the story that will unfold. It ignites imagination in all kinds of industries. They spend time dreaming about that. In the business world, they talk about BHAGs. I don't know if you're familiar with that concept, but big, hairy, audacious goal. That's a story that you're telling about where you want to go. Jesus totally capitalized on this with parables. They were not true stories. They could have been true stories. They were just stories to help people visualize a concept or visualize a value system. Goals in and of themselves are stories that we tell ourselves that hold incredible power. True stories do something, but just in case, well, let's talk about true stories. They create empathy and a connection to God. But just in case you're thinking we can only read biographies to our kids and we can only read Bible stories to our kids, the power of fictional stories is just as powerful to create courage in people and the idea of what could be. For my personal journey, this is a true story, but I watched the Hollywood version called Hidden Figures. Did anybody else watch that story of the African-American computers who were humans? That was a what? Of course, they computed. They were called computers. But before computers were a digital item, they were a whole team of people. And that story moved me in my own journey as I watched people do courageous things and believe in themselves when other people were not believing in themselves. The power of what could be can be found in stories all over our fiction world. There is something that moves inside of our students and inside of us when we read characters like Frodo, or Katniss Everdeen, or Nancy Drew. Yeah, you're welcome. I totally thought of you. Nancy Drew. The Harry Potter. These characters teach us things about ourselves, about character and integrity, and the power of what could be in igniting our imaginations. Stories invite kids into a larger narrative where they are designed to play a significant role. Love that bedtime story. So I'm just going to name off, I'm going to hammer this one. This is like, don't underestimate stories. Here's a couple other things they do. They constantly talk about the struggle between good and evil, the potential of a person. They constantly push to the existence of supernatural, even if it's not overtly about God. Reading a fictional story that pushes us into the supernatural frame of mind and the idea of miraculous power makes it easier for us to visualize a God that is supernatural and the possibility of what could be. It prepares kids to face whatever is coming as they watch characters face untenable odds. It prepares them to face whatever is coming. It compels them to take risks. It challenges them to do something significant with their lives because every book's character is pushing us in that way. Either a cautionary tale of someone not doing that or a beautiful story of someone doing that. And then it moves them to believe that good will triumph over evil. These are narratives about life and self and God that are incredibly powerful even when you're reading fictional stories. Stories produce perspective over time. Stories over time produce perspectives. So as we talk about applying it, this was one that I was totally convicted in. Families, empower readers. Keep that bedtime routine going. Give them an extra 20 minutes to read. Well, you set your... You do what you want in parenting. Empower readers. Let them read. Read with them. Model reading. And then monitor your own stories. So I brought some of my storybooks here because the last couple of years has been an incredibly compelling time to monitor what stories I'm telling myself. The storyteller that is inside of my head has some things that she is trying to tell me that I don't agree with, but it's a compelling story in there. So I have purposefully brought books into my world that tell me the story that I need to hear. I like myself because I'm me. There's no one else I'd rather be. I like my fingers and my toes, my eyes, all right. Such a powerful book. It's a kid's book I found at Costco. But when I passed it and I fell in love with the character who loved herself, I monitored my own story. Some of us don't need to empower readers anymore. Some of us need to empower the storyteller inside of us and monitor our own stories. For the influencers, maximize sharing. Share what you're learning. Share the stories of what you did. I tried a mud bath for the first time this week. Anybody done an old school mud bath? Mortifying and delightful at the same time after you get completely over whatever sense of ego that you had. Seriously, people, you got to try it, but dare greatly in the process. Sharing that story with a teenage girl as I worked my way through my body issues, insanely powerful. Insanely powerful. And it's a silly story about a mud bath. That's all it is. So much power in sharing of stories. And then retell the stories of the tribe times that you've had together. That's all. Just go back and recount memories. So incredibly powerful. You're probably already doing this. Just take credit for it. And then New Life, I can't even get into how we're going to use stories. We're totally changing how we're interacting with stories on Sunday mornings this coming year. So I'm going to put a plug in for the community update, which is next Sunday at 2 p.m. Come hear what we're doing with stories, because we're changing our approach to maximize this idea that stories over time produce perspective. And then lastly, fun. This should be fun. Fun over time produces connection. I don't know about you, but as we age, fun becomes more of like a special occasion. Is that, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we're gonna go have fun is a place that we like arrive to, as opposed to fun happens as we're happening. Kids, though, they live in funland. In fact, sometimes it can be hard to pull them out of funland into like, please put your shoes on, like, please. They live in funland, but fun over time produces connection. And I don't know, sometimes when we get ourselves a little bit too serious, we think that God doesn't care too much about fun. So I want to show a couple of places where I see God saying, fun produces connection. Have fun for fun's sake. It does not have to be a teaching moment. It does not have to be a special occasion. Fun for fun's sake produces connection. I see this. I'm so sorry if you don't like nature, because I just keep bringing nature back into this thing. But nature has a play drive. Anybody got a dog? Did you have to teach your dog to play? Like, they play. I am 2 years into cat ownership for the first time ever. And those of you that live with cats, you know who is owning who in this 2-year journey. And Charlie and I had a little battle last night about play. He thought that this really cute mole was going to make a very cute play toy inside of my house. And you know me in nature. I needed to save the mole. The mole was perfectly fine, not injured in the slightest, and didn't even seem traumatized. But Charlie was pretty sure that playtime was going to happen all the way past midnight, and chewed me out. So his play drive is pretty strong. Dolphins, natural play drive. I mean, it's over and over and over again in God's natural world that play is part of it. And they are literally in nature, they are in fight or flight mode almost all the time. I'd like to show you my spirit animal, and we're just going to enjoy this. Go ahead and play this video. This is an otter. You guys! They never drop it. No! Every time! Oh. You don't want to know how many times I've watched this video this week. Oh my gosh. Oh. I mean, they're on their back. That's like the universal sign for I'm safe, I'm comfortable. 3! Basking in the sun, playing with their rocks. Some otters make a friend out of their rock. I got it. I'm not sure. I got it. Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah. Never. No dropping. Doesn't drop it. Oh. Yeah. Okay, so for those of you that are like, that was 1 minute and 33 seconds that we watched an otter video. Are you kidding me? Fun for fun's sake. It's totally okay. That is God in that otter saying, geez, even nature that has to worry about their next meal and their safety has play in it. I also think that God played with nature. Now, this is my opinion, but to me, it is written all over nature. Did you know that there's 750 types of butterfly? Why didn't you just make one butterfly and put it everywhere? Like, why do you need 750? There's 11,000 kinds of moths. 11,000. Growing up, I had a poster that these are all butterfly wings, and it's the English alphabet somewhere written in butterfly wings across the globe. I don't know. I feel like if you're an infinite God with an infinite brain, you just play like this. Why? Why, God? Why did you make a platypus? I think God was playing. I think he was playing. Why? What's the name of that thing in Turtle Talk with Crush? The current that flows? Disney quiz. Yep. Okay, now that's going to bother all of us. Why make underwater currents in the ocean? Why make a salmon that lives in fresh water and salt water? Why? It just plays. Fun for fun's sake is okay. And maybe fun is not in the Bible, but all of its relatives are. Rejoice, dance, sing, celebrate. The fruit of the Spirit is joy. Fun for fun's sake produces connection. It reconnects what is disconnected. It convinces a kid that we like them. It fosters resilience, that even when bad things happen, there's always something to be laughed about. And it authenticates forgiveness. When you've had a bump in the road relationally, the next time you find yourself belly laughing together, there's something cementing like, okay, good, we're okay. Fun authenticates forgiveness, that we are bigger than that bump we just went through. So families, for applying this, just leverage the fun that you're having. Look for those little tiny moments to juggle rocks. Some of you, I know, are incredible at this little momentary 2-second party. Influencers, initiate it. When you want to go out and talk deeply, do it while you're bowling. Like, instigate it. And New Life, we're going to strategize it. There's serious things we're going to do to switch up what we're doing on Sunday mornings in order to strategize this fun. That's it. Those are the 6 things over time that produce a sense of worth and direction and perspective and connection and reconnection. Fun, words, tribes, stories. They're at our fingertips. We just need to leverage them. I'm going to ask Elise to come back up and wrap us out of this service. Thank you, guys.
Tribes, stories, and fun. Oh my goodness. Do you have an idea? Did you feel something that resonated out of those 3? Did one hit something? As she was talking, I thought, oh, my stars, tribes. I feel like I've done a good job of building myself a tribe, but I think it's time to start building intentional tribes for my kids. And then she showed the otters. Oh, we don't play like that. That's something. So I'm not sure what we're going to start with this week, but hopefully you have an idea where you will start this week. So if you are a first-time guest, please check out the kiosk, the guest kiosk in the lobby. We have a gift for you, from us to you. It's a mug with some other fun things in there. Please grab that on your way out. And we are going to wrap this up. This is the time where our guest services team will come on forward and we'll pass baskets. And this is when you put your Start Here card in there and your investment envelope. If you're prepared to give, that's when we'll collect this. And Justin is going to rock us out of here. Happy Sunday.
All right, we're going to have fun for fun's sake, and I'm going to ask you to multitask. So let me get you to your feet here, and then you're going to have to pass baskets and clap. Like this. We're going to have some fun in here. Day after day, you never change. Ever the same, there is hope in you. You are the fire that's burning bright. Ever you reign, we're lifting you high. Come on, everybody. Come on, somebody. We're gonna sing it out. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Everybody shout, make it loud. All of heaven sing, hear the sound. Let the praises ring, your renown. Every day we live, every day to live to praise you. Now this is your chance to work out those dance moves. Breath after breath, we're so alive. Ever we change, 'cause you rescue our lives. First and the last, no one in between. Ever the king, you're the song that we sing. Everybody, come on everybody, here we go. Everybody shout, All right, you guys have a great Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will see you back here bright and early next week.
He won't change us. Oh no, this city won't change us. Oh no, this city won't change us. Oh no, this city won't change us. Won't change us. Hey, la da 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 da. La da 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 da. Oh, and no matter where we go, we always find our way back home. La da 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 da. Find our way back home.
Hey, brother, there's an endless road to rediscover. Hey, sister, know the water's sweet, but blood is thicker. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Hey, brother, do you still believe in one another? Hey, sister, do you still believe in love? I wonder. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. What if I'm far from home? Oh, brother, I will hear you call. What if I lose it all? Oh, sister, I will help you out. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. What if I'm far from home? Oh, brother, I will hear you call. What if I lose it all? Oh, sister, I will help you out. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
I spent 20 years trying to get out of this place. I was looking for something I couldn't replace. I was running away from the only thing I've ever known.
Like a blind dog without a bone, I was a gypsy lost in the twilight zone. I hijacked a rainbow and crashed into a pot of gold.
Been there, done that. I ain't looking back on the seeds I've sown. Saving times, spending too much time on the telephone. Who says you can't go home? Who says you can't go home? There's only one place they call me one of their own. Just a hometown boy, born a rolling stone. Who says you can't go home? Who says you can't go back? Been all around the world, and as a matter of fact, there's only one place left I wanna go. Who says you can't go home? It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright.
I went as far as I could, tried to find a new face. There isn't one of these lines that I would erase. Lived a million miles of memories on that road.
Every step I take, I know that I'm not alone. You take the home from a boy, but not the boy from his home. These are my streets, the only life I've ever known. Who says you can't go home? Who says you can't go home? There's only one place they call me one of their own. Just a hometown boy, born a rolling stone. Who says you can't go home? Who says you can't go back? Been all around the world, and as a matter of fact, there's only one place left I wanna go. Who says you can't go home? It doesn't matter where you are,
Doesn't matter where you go,
if it's a million miles away or just a mile up the road. Take it in, take it with you when you go. Who says you can't go home? Who says you can't go back? Been all around the world, and as a matter of fact, there's only one place left I wanna go. Who says you can't go home? It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Who says you can't go home? It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. my eye. Girl, I never loved one like you.
Man, oh man, you're my best friend. I scream it too. There's nothing that, there ain't nothing that I need.
Well, hot and heavy pumpkin pie, chocolate candy, Jesus Christ, ain't nothing please me more than you.
Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
Park, through the jungle, through the dark. Girl, I never loved one like you.
Moats and boats and waterfalls, alleyways and payphone calls. I've been everywhere with you.
That's true. Laughing till we think we're down, barefoot on the summer night. Never could be sweeter than with you.
And in the streets you run free like it's only you and me. Choose your something to see. Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
Jade,
Alexander,
do you remember that day you fell out of my window?
I sure do. You came jumping out after me.
Well, you fell on the concrete, nearly broke your ass, and you were bleeding all over the place, and I rushed you out to the hospital. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Well, there's something I never told you about that night.
What did you tell me?
While you were sitting in the back seat smoking a cigarette you thought was going to be your last, I was falling deep, deeply in love with you. And I never told you till just now.
Let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Let me go home. Home is where I'm alone with you.
Home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
Oh, home. Yes, I am home. Home is when I'm alone with you. Alabama, are you so? I can love my heart and heart. Moats and boats and waterfalls. Alleyways and payphone
People try to put us to down,
Talking about my generation.
just because we get around.
Talking about my generation.
Things they do look awful.
Talking about my generation.
I hope I die before I get old.
Talking about my
My
generation.
generation, this is my generation, baby. Why try to dig what we all say. I'm not trying to cause a big sensation. I'm just talking about my generation. My generation. This is my generation, baby. Don't you all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say. I'm trying to cause a big sensation. Just talking about my generation. This is my generation. This is my generation, baby. My generation. People try to put us to down. Talking about my generation. Just because we could get around. Talking about my generation. Things they do look awful cold. My generation. I hope I die before I get old. Talking about my generation. This is my generation, baby. My generation. My generation, this is my generation, baby. This is my generation, this is my generation, this is my generation, this is my generation.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. Well, there's so much they hold, and just like them old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? Well, I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up, and when you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find. 'Cause even the stars, they burn, some even fall to the earth. We got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up. I don't want to wanna be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got here. We got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not, and who I am. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up, still looking up. Well, I won't give up on us. God knows I'm tough. He knows we got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up.
Arrows flying into silence, broken pieces lying around where it went down. Water rising back to silence, quietly crying, wondering how. And look at us now. We thought our love would take the world by storm. Are we too far apart? Two worlds among the stars. You're gonna take a piece of my heart if you leave. So it's two separate ways, or am I too late to say I wanna fight for what we got? 'Cause I believe in family. So are we still trying, or simply surviving, facing these giants? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. But I still believe in the dreams we've been dreaming. The hope that we built on is never too far, it's never too far. If we choose to turn and let these walls fall down. Are we too far apart? Two worlds among the stars. You're gonna take a piece of my heart if you leave. So it's two separate ways, or am I too late to say I wanna fight for what we got? 'Cause I believe in family. I still believe. I still believe that we're not too far apart. Two worlds among the stars. Don't take a piece of my heart. Please don't leave. It's not too late to say, Father, show us the way to fight for what we got. 'Cause you believe.
just an old piece of wood on top of four legs. It's got a few coffee stains and 1,000 marks from God knows when. Ain't too many things that can stand the test of time, but this family table's held together by love that never dies. So won't you come on in? Supper's almost done. Go ahead and call your friends, 'cause we got room for everyone. Let's make some memories round this 9-foot pie. Pull up a chair and stay a while at the family table. Family table. It's the cornerstone that held us all up through the best of times and made our way when times got tough. We blew the candles out and I walked through time. This family table's bound together by love that never dies. Won't you come on in? Supper's almost done. Go ahead and call your friends, 'cause we got room for everyone. Let's make some memories round this 9-foot pie. Pull up a chair, stay a while. Gather round hand in hand, close our eyes and bow our heads. Thank the Lord for everything He's done, and for everyone at the family table. So please come on in. When your work is done, go ahead and wash your hands. Gather around with everyone, making memories round this 9-foot pie. No other place can ease your mind like a family table. Family table. Like a family table. Family table.
I'm gonna need you to raise your glass. I don't care what you put in it. Here's the nights that you can't take back. We live hard, but we love to laugh. And we all thought that we'd get rich fast. Hopped the plane out for greener grass. Found out the greenest cash don't compare to the friends that last. See, we won't forget where we came from. This city won't change us. We beat to the same drum. No, we won't forget where we came from. This city can't change us. We beat to the same drum, the same drum. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. So here's to the cheap sunglasses, Red Bull and minivans, and people who had your back when the world didn't understand. See, we won't forget where we came from. The city won't change us. We beat to the same drum. No, we won't forget where we came from. The city can't change us. We beat to the same drum, the same drum. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. When time's losing and we're losing touch and fading away, we'll still be raising our cups to the same damn thing. Oh no, this city won't change us. 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 Won't change us. Hey, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. La da 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 da, la da 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 da. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. La da 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 da, la da 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 da. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. We always find a way back home. Yeah, we always find a.
I'm loud enough you can hear. There we go. Hey, good morning. Welcome to New Life. My name's Elise. I get to be your MC for the morning and kind of walk you through different transitions. So every Sunday morning, we start off with awesome music, and I want you to feel comfortable sitting, standing, raising your hands, clapping. You can sing out loud. You can just take it in. There are no rules, so enjoy it. And Justin is one of our leaders up here. He's going to get us started. Enjoy.
Let me invite you to stand up. Let's bring some joy in this place. Here we go. Sing it day after day. Day after day, you never change. Ever the same, there's hope in your heart. You are the light that's burning bright. Ever you reign, so we're lifting you high. Everybody. Everybody shout, make it loud. All of heaven sing, hear the sound. Let their praises ring, glory now. Every day we live to praise you. Breath after breath, we're so alive. ever would change, 'cause you rescued lives. First and the last, nothing in between. Ever the king, you're the song that we sing. Come on, everybody. Come on. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Everybody shout, make it loud. All of heaven sing, hear the sound. Let the praises ring, glory down. And every day we live to praise you. The joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord is our strength. 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 One, two, three. Everybody shout, make it loud. All of heaven sing, hear the sound. Let the praises ring, glory down. And every day we live to praise. The joy of the Lord is our strength. The joy of the Lord is our strength. The joy of the Lord is our strength. And every day we live to praise you. So you may have come in and that song was a perfect song for you. You just felt like sunshine followed you in. But for some of us, you may have felt like, I could barely stand, get out of bed this morning. And this is a song about how even when that joy is kind of lost on you, that you can stand, that fear doesn't stand a chance when you stand in God's love. So that's what this song's about. Darkness tries to roll over my bones, and sorrow comes to steal the joy I own. Brokenness and pain is all I know. Well, I won't be shaken, I won't be shaken. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Oh, shame no longer has a place to hide, and I am not a captive to the lies. I'm not afraid to leave my past behind, and I won't be shaken. No, I won't be shaken. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Well, there's power that can break up every chain, and there's power that can empty out a grave. There's resurrection power that can save. There's power in your name. There's power in your name. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your
didn't want heaven without us. So Jesus, you brought heaven down. My sin was great, your love was greater. What could separate us now? What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a wonderful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. Death could not hold you. The veil tore before you. Silence the boast of sin and grave. Heavens are roaring, praise of your glory. Oh, you are raised to life again. You have no rival, you have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. You have no rival. You have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom. Yours is the glory. Yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of
You can go ahead and grab a seat. How can we stand here and proclaim how powerful the name of Jesus is? How can we stand here and say that and sing that? Well, it's simple, because we believe that that God stepped out of heaven and became human, Jesus, and then gave himself willingly to die for us, to be arrested and tried and executed for us. We sang how the veil was torn which is very poetic, sounds really poetic, but that was actually a real thing. So in the temple, there's a giant curtain that separated God from everyone else. And only a priest was allowed to go in once a year, and they would tie a rope to him in case he died, and they could pull him back out. But you didn't get access to God in that way. It was called the Holy of Holies. That literally tore in two when he died, symbolizing that we now have access to God. And it didn't just stop there, because then 3 days later he rose from the dead and appeared to over 500 people. And that's something that we believe in faith, yes. But that's why we can stand here and sing that. What a wonderful name, because it's attached to a wonderful God. This morning, we're going to take time and remember what Jesus did on the cross, and this is what we do, what we call communion, where we take a piece of bread representing Christ's body broken for us, Jesus' body broken for us, and then a cup of juice representing his blood poured out for us. And then what that does is that allowed us to then be in communion with God, to have access to God, to have our sins forgiven. And so that's what we remember, and that's why we can sing with that power. Oh, what a wonderful name. Let's pray. God, we thank you for the cross. We thank you that you saw us in our state and you stepped out of heaven so that we could have connection with you again. You bridged the gap that we had made, and we thank you for that now. And we remember in Jesus' name, amen. If you're not comfortable participating in communion, that's okay, just pass the tray to your neighbor.
What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name
beautiful. Thank you guys so much. Good morning and welcome to New Life, everyone here and online. So glad you're watching. If you were not here in the beginning of service, my name's Elise. I am a part of the administrative staff here at New Life, and I get to be your MC this morning. Super exciting. So for those of you who are regulars here, we have switched things up a bit, and there's going to be some differences in the service. So sit back and enjoy. Don't get up right away. You'll see as we go along. Got some surprises up our sleeves. So I would like to hear from you first. How are you doing this morning? Good, oh good, okay. Are you excited to see? I'm assuming the sun is still out. Is that true? Yes, are you happy to see that? Did anyone here get like flooded in? I heard these crazy stories of people who couldn't get to work or couldn't leave their homes. No one here. Dang, you guys are so lucky. You did? Okay, that's so great, because I have a gift for you. So you can either sit in your boat and drink something of your choosing, or you could totally open this up and use it to like get water. Yep, bail out, baby. All right, that's awesome. No one said that first service. No one left with a cup. So sad, so sad. Okay, I want to get us started with our program. If you did not get one of these walking in the door, you can scoot on back. These are on our back tables there. So the first thing is the Start Here card. So this is for people who have been here 1,000 times, or if this is your first time coming. There's a place for you to fill out your information on the front. We will not abuse this. We see this as like sacred information. You will receive an email from us if this is your first time here. But on the back, you have places to check for different teams we have, and 2 different announcements that I'll cover in just a minute. But you can also put prayer requests or answered prayer, our staff team, and we have a whole prayer team that prays over these every week. So please write it down. That is an honor for us to partner with you in that way. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, you'll see this flyer, is our Mexico missions trip. We do this every year, and this is the time we start gathering a group of people who want to go to this. I went on this trip 7 years ago with my husband. We left our kids at home, and we only had 2 at the time. Now we have 3. And we went, and this was so good for me, you guys. I did the majority of my growing up in Ohio, and I was not exposed to very many cultures. I knew a lot about corn, but I didn't know a lot about any other culture than what I was in. And so this trip, I learned a ton about myself. I learned a ton about other cultures. I learned a ton about poverty, like real poverty that I had never seen, I'd never experienced. I learned about God. I was able to ask questions that I'd never asked to him before. It was super empowering. I totally recommend it. It's a great trip if you're a first timer and you're thinking about going on a missions trip. There's a lot of experienced people that go every year, and so you're safe. They'll help you walk through it. And if you're a veteran mission goer, this is also a great thing for you to just go and attend and serve. If you have questions or want to know prices or anything like that, we have a whole kiosk out there with some pictures and a volunteer who will be able to tell you all the information you'll need. So visit that after service if you would like. The next thing I want to talk about is this community update. I am so excited about these, you guys. So we started these at the end of last year as a way to bring our New Life community in and give you the inside view of what's happening in our church. That you don't just, it gets put into place and then you hear about it. It's the place where you get to come and get the back, what's the word I'm looking for, a phrase? Not the back seat view. Okay, there you go. So, every month we have a different topic. This month is Next Gen Strategies, which Next Gen is our team that covers 0 or birth to 18. And we are completely changing it up. We're changing teams, we're changing curriculums, we're changing campus things. You're going to want to find out. It's so exciting. Whether you have kids that are attending here that will be directly affected, or you don't, if you're an auntie or uncle or a grandparent, or you know a family in your neighborhood that you'd like to invite, come check this out. It is totally worth your time. Next Sunday, the 24th at 2 p.m. is when that meeting happens. And there's no need to RSVP. You can just show up. But if you need childcare, please mark your card, your Start Here card. You'll see a place to mark that. I am getting together babysitting, so this is your chance. If you have questions about that later, or if you decide later today, yeah, I do want to come to that, just email me. My email's at the bottom of that flyer. Okay, This very business-like envelope, this is what I'm calling an investment envelope. So for us who call New Life home, this is where we can give. And if you came prepared to give, it's a great time to get this ready. I have good news. One of our switch-ups is that we're going to pass baskets at the end of service, so you don't have to rush and do it all right now. We're going to collect your investment envelope and your Start Here card at the end of service, but this is when you want to start getting that ready. If you're newer to our community, there's absolutely no obligation to give. This is called investment for a reason, and we think that if you're going to invest in something, you got to check it out. You got to see, do I agree with this organization? Do our values line up? Do I want to give to their causes? So do your research first, and then here's your investment envelope when you're ready. Lastly is your note sheet for today. You can see I've already attended first service, so I have all my notes. This is my friend. I like these. At the bottom of this sheet, you'll see where you can find podcasts. If you did not attend last week, Ron started, this is a two-part series, if you will, last week and this week. So Ron covered the first 3 things over time that we need to give our children. So Angela is actually going to take us through the last 3 things today that we need to give our children over time. And she's going to come up as soon as this video is done. But for now, enjoy.
Don't do it, sister. Don't do it. Matt G was my name, different name. Matt G was back, name, different name. Matt G was back. Yeah, Matt Gilchrist. Good morning. My name is Angela. It's been a while since that name has come out. Matt, please don't be watching online. That's going to be mortifying. My name is Angela, and I am very happily wrapping up this 6 things that the next gen needs over time. I realized as I was having a blast in first service talking about the 3 things that we're covering today, that I got to schedule whether or not Ron was teaching one part and I was teaching the other, and I hogged all the good ones for me. He did such a good job last week of very impactful things that we will recap today. But the 3 that we're talking about today is just fun. It's so fun. When I stop and think about it's everybody's responsibility to empower the next generation, which is the purpose of what we are trying to convey through this series that's called One Voice, We Can Do More Together. I get all kinds of serious. Like, we need to do this, people. We need to do this. Today, as we talk about these other 3 things that we're going to do, it just reminds me that sometimes the most serious stuff in life is fun. So today should be fun, and we're going to start out a little bit interactive. And don't panic, I'm not going to call on you, but I think the best learning happens when we have a clear picture of how to apply it. So I'll do my best to be practical all the way through this, but let's start with a different way of getting in. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. We're going to spend a minute visualizing. If that's uncomfortable, pull out Elisa's little note sheet, friend, and doodle as we go, because I would like to spend some time visualizing. So I'm going to close my eyes because I'm comfy. You do as you see fit, or don't see, as the case may be. I would like you to get a specific face in front of your mind's eye. It's going to be a kid that you know well. It could be your own kid. It could not be, but some kid in your world. I want you to get specific enough that you can tell what height they are. Like if they're in preschool, you're going to be looking down at them. They're going to be looking up at you as you visualize them. Middle school is about eye to eye with me right about now. High school towers over me. So picture somebody in your world that you know. Obviously, if you got a face in your head, you know what gender they are, but I want you to get specific enough that you can picture their color of eye. Whether they have wavy parts to their hair or not. You can picture this kid belly laughing. You can picture this kid looking at you like, are you sure? Like, I want you to get crystal clear. And as we go through this day, this time together, have this face in your mind. So keep your eyes closed or keep doodling, maybe doodle their name. I want you to picture a future version of that kid. Fast forward a little ways down the road and picture them with a rich shared history with you, where you could reference, hey, remember that time we, or I remember back when you used to blank. I want to get in your mind's eye a picture of that future kid who has a deep sense of worth. They know that they are loved. They know that they are significant in their world. They know that they're missed when they don't come to things that you guys do together. They have a sense of belonging. Picture that future kid with a solid sense of direction. Not just the kind of direction that's like, I know what college I'm going to, I know what career I want, but the kind of solid sense of direction that even when life throws a curveball, they know who they are and they know where they're going in life. I want you to picture that future version of the kid that you know with a worldview that includes them as a global citizen. They see themselves as a piece of a very big world, but a small piece, a significant piece in their world, but a small piece in a much larger narrative. And they have deep empathy for the people that they interact with. That you can picture that future version of the kid that you know, again, belly laughing. But this time, it's a more mature, not like the laugh is more mature, but the body that it is erupting out of is a more mature version of whatever age you know them at now. Okay. You can open your eyes. You're welcome to keep doodling. Dude, that kid with a solid sense of direction, that kid with a deep sense of worth and belonging, that kid with a perspective of being a global citizen, that kid that has the ability to laugh and to enjoy life and to cut loose and feels comfortable enough in their skin to make a loud sound like a belly laugh. That kid, what kind of an employee does that kid grow up to be? What kind of a friend? That is a really good potential spouse for somebody. That kid makes an incredible citizen, an incredible neighbor. That kid is a valuable commodity, an asset to our community, not just this community, but our global community. We need a whole generation of that kid. We need that. And so we're talking about what it takes to empower the next generation. But oftentimes when we talk about the next generation, at least in casual conversations, I find us as adults or older people, might not be adulting yet, but older people, I find us saying things like, well, kids these days, they're always on their phones, or they're like, we got this curmudgeon-y type attitude. I'm pretty sure curmudgeon-y is not a thing. I've seen it on my face, though. We sometimes get into this thing where we feel like in order to develop future leaders, in order to develop the next generation, that somehow we need to fix them. But I would like to suggest that what we owe the next generation is not fixing them. What we owe them is empowerment. What we owe them is this kind of modeling of global citizens, of people who know their worth, of people that create a sense of safety so that belonging can happen. People that use our words over time to affirm them. That's what we need. More so, immediately, that's what we need, because long-term, what we need is a whole community of that type of citizen, of that type of human being. So Ron did an incredible job last week of talking about 3 things that kids need over time, and I loved these principles. But I was also pretty convicted that if I want to be the kind of person that empowers the next generation with these 3 things, or these 6 things that we're going to talk about today, that they actually have to be things that I have in my world, because his principle of these things are all better caught than taught really holds true. So Ron covered that time over time equals a shared history. That when we spend time with each other over the span of time, it creates this shared history that helps a kid know where they stand, where they exist, where they belong. Words over time create a sense of direction for kids, and love over time develops a sense of worth. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm all grown up these days, and I need those 3 things. I need a myriad of voices. I need one voice that's made up of a myriad of voices speaking this message to me. I think this is a huge piece of the puzzle. So today, as you have that picture in your mind of a kid, I hope you have 2 heart spaces. One that is, what do I want to give that kid to empower them? And one of them is, what do I need to feed into my world so that this is just something that this kid catches off of me, as opposed to something I'm trying to, preach at him. Like you need to know your value. So it's not nearly as effective as just loving them and feeling that sense of value coming off of them. I loved Ron's principle last week about the flywheel. He said it's extremely heavy, originally made of rock, that they would push and push and push, and nothing would happen for a long time because it takes a ton of time. Is anybody in here by chance watching the Titan Games? Yes, good job. Okay, so Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is putting on one of those athletic competitions, but it's about heart as well as athleticism. Great stories. Thoroughly enjoy it. But one of the challenges is they have to knock over both male and female candidates, is not the right word, contestants. Male and female contestants have to knock over a 1,000-pound wall. 1,000 pounds! The men, they're big and burly, and they just run at it and jump and smash themselves against it. And in general, that's enough to get the thing going. The female contestants have to handle it completely different. They also run it. They also throw their body weight at it, but they have to apply science as well, and they rock it until it gets going enough that they can get that thing over. And they all have to do it because they're so far outweighed by this wall. That was Ron's principle last week about the flywheel. Same thing with these things. They're all incredibly powerful, but the power doesn't come in the momentary enactment of these things. All of these things gain power over time as you push on it. And at first it's like, okay, I gave them a compliment. Do they have a deep sense of value yet? Like, is it there yet? It's like these things all gain power over time. Time is the constant in each of the formulas of these influences. And that's true of the other 3 that we're going to talk about today. It's all of it over time. Our hope is, in talking about these 6 things, 6, these 6 things, is that you will already earmark places that you're doing it. And it's just a pat on the back. Like, I had no idea that small moment where I said, I just like being with you. You're just so stinking funny to me. That little moment is a big moment over time. You're already doing it. So I'm going to give you ideas for how to apply these principles today. But for some of us, massive parts of what I'm going to say today, all you need to do is earmark, oh my word, that thing I'm already doing really can have an influence. I'm going to keep it up. It's not to add to your lists. So let's talk about tribes. This is the 4th. The 4 things that happen over time. A tribe over time creates a sense of belonging. And when you put tribes together with the time piece, the time over time, you have both a shared history and a sense of belonging. A tribe is just defined as a group of people who share something in common. You and I belong to a lot of different kinds of tribes. I am a daughter, so I am part of a family tribe. I am a pastor, so I'm part of the pastor tribe. I am a part of New Life, so I'm part of the New Life tribe. In first service, I made the mistake of saying I'm a soccer player. I feel like it's more accurate to say that I play soccer. I think that's not quite the same thing. I have big dreams, though. So I am part of a soccer tribe. We have all kinds of tribes that we share something in common with. And they all give us, especially if you have a variety of tribes, they give us this sense of belonging. But there are a couple of tribes that we have available to us in life that are significantly more powerful than the others. They all provide this idea that a kid can say to themselves, or I say to myself, this is where I belong. These are my people. I am loved here. I am these people's loved ones. All tribes provide some form of that, but some were designed by God to be incredibly strategic. And the 2 that I see God instituting himself directly was this idea of family and the idea of church. And here's why I think these 2 particular tribes are incredibly powerful with that constant of time, is grace is their distinctive. I played volleyball in high school, which was a huge mistake. My sister is the athlete and the competitive one, and I went to watch her try out, which I called an audition, so that should tell you something. I went to watch her try out for it, and the JV team thought I was watching them to see if I wanted to play. So when a whole bunch of socialites came over to me, were like, are you going to play with us? I am me. The answer is yes, I'm going to be part of your tribe. So I played volleyball, but I'm not particularly athletic, and I am not competitive, and I did not appreciate being screamed at by the coach. I have very specific memories of staring. When she got really mad, the tip of her nose would move a lot while she was talking, and I'd just stare at it because I was trying to survive the trauma that was being screamed at by the JV coach. And at one point, I do remember thinking, does she think screaming at me is going to make me try harder? Like, I did not get it. So I quit at the end of the season because it was not a good fit for me at all. What I did not know was that I had betrayed my tribe. I thought we've been friends. We've been together this whole season. We have weathered a lot of screaming together. I thought we were a tribe, but to the tribe, I had betrayed the thing that we had in common, and I lost my entire friendship circle. I started my sophomore year over completely relationally. Family and church are the 2 places that should be a constant over time, that it doesn't matter what life throws our way. It doesn't matter whether we're in or we're out at that moment. The Bible tells a story of the prodigal son who was one of 2 siblings, and the younger son decided, I'm over this tribe. I would like my inheritance now. And so the father gave the inheritance to him, and off he went to go find his tribe. And after a couple of years, squandering all of the money, finding himself feeding pigs for a living in the middle of a famine, he decides, hey, that tribe that I had was pretty good. And the Bible tells a story of the young son coming back, and that the father was watching for his arrival years later, that he ran to the son and he threw a party. It wasn't just like, I told you so. It was, you're back! And all all was back to rights with the tribe. And Jesus told the story, it's in Luke. Jesus told the story to illustrate what God thinks of us and how the church should think of each other. We were meant to have our distinctive nature of this tribe, more so than any other knitting circle you belong to, or sports. I mean, we weather things. A couple of games ago, I had a perfect shot. It was wide open, and I got so excited that I whiffed the ball. Literally didn't touch the ball, right by it. To which, because I am me, I am yelling, "I'm so sorry, girls, I'm so sorry." There was forgiveness in soccer. Like, we had grace. They had grace for me. I'm not off the team because of that moment. It's nothing like the wrestling match that goes on inside a family. It's nothing like the grace that is required inside these long-term, deeply relational tribes that are family and church. So when it comes to applying the tribe thing, I want to talk about this. For families, when it comes to you pressing into this concept of helping the next generation have a sense of tribe, I would say your Sunday morning participation is gigantic. It's gigantic. If your kids are spending all week long with their school tribe and their sports tribe and their academic tribe and all of those other tribes, you finding a way to be consistent with your partnership in getting them to this tribe, in fostering the friendships that they make in this tribe, is a huge deal. This is one of those things that's like, hey, you're sitting here listening to me say this, so check, nice work, nice work. I would say if you're not doing it, consider midweek connections that you can make so that the tribe that they meet here on Sunday bleeds into slumber parties midweek, bleeds into pizza lunches after Sunday tribe. Anything you can do to foster connections inside of this tribe is a huge benefit to the next generation. Influencers, that's those of us that don't have a family that we are trying to empower directly ourselves. We're looking to use our influence in the lives of others. Voluntary time is what causes the tribe to happen. When a kid looks at you like, why did you want to do this with me? And your answer is like, because we're us. Of course we want to do this. I love being with you. This is your instigation that makes a huge difference in the tribe sense. And then this is an unusual one, but when grace is the distinctive, highlighting forgiveness is a huge, huge deal. And lots of times when we have these periphery type relationships, in a marriage, you might have to do the whole sorry and forgiveness formally. That's the thing that we do to foster intimacy inside of those relationships. But lots of times in these mentor types relationships, we like to sweep that controversy under the rug so it's not uncomfortable. So a kid disrespects us or stands us up and forgets to tell us that they weren't going to be at the place where you said you were going to meet. Forgiveness is part of that friendship too, but most of the time I like to downplay that because I don't want them to feel badly. But actually, for the last couple of years, I have spent some serious time working "I'm sorry" into the conversation and working "I forgive you" into the conversation. And so when we were praying about this concept, it's like, whoa, forgiveness is a huge step for cementing that our relationship, this tribe, makes it over that kind of bump just fine and formally puts us back on the right so that they know where they belong and they have a firm foundation to stand on. And then I think the tribe of New Life needs to apply this concept as well. And how we're going to work to apply this is in that strategy that we're going to be talking about next Sunday at the community update. We are overhauling our format of Sunday mornings in here to foster tribes in a different way, to strategize how can kids make this sense of connection, both with their peers and with the people who are in there volunteering for the purposes of empowering them. Completely new format and completely different emphasis in order to foster this sense of tribe. Again, our teaching series is called One Voice, We Can Do More Together. If you guys, as families and influencers, are pushing into this tribe concept and the church joins that with a single voice, we can do a ton together. So that's the fourth thing over time. Tribes over time create a sense of belonging. Here's a little, I forgot this in first service too. Thank you, Jessica. It's a good point. Who should feel the most welcome here in this tribe? I was super, super convicted with the idea that a tantruming 2-year-old should feel the most welcome out of anybody in our church. Or that a hesitant middle schooler, and you know what I mean by hesitant, like trying not to make eye contact, maybe the hood is up, the arms might be crossed, that a hesitant middle schooler might be exactly the person who should feel the most welcome here. It's part of the way that we prove to that middle schooler or the sullen teenager or the crying, like the kid that is struggling the most to feel at home, to let their guards down. That's where we as a tribe can communicate volumes. Last week, Ron said, when a kid is actually showing disrespect or struggling, and we use our words of affirmation in that moment, how powerful that can be. That's the same thing. This tribe can prove a ton when we are affirming what we're not certain I don't know how to interact with a toddler that is having a tantrum on the floor. When my heart goes out and I create safety for that child in that moment, for that family in that moment, and endorse them in that moment, we cement tribe here. So a quick recap: tribes over time equal belonging. Time over time equals a shared history. Words over time creates a sense of direction. Love over time deepens their sense of worth. Tribes over time create belonging. And stories over time, that's the fifth one, stories over time produce perspective. I have never heard anybody in church talk about the power of stories, even though our Bible is packed full of stories and we like to reference them. I've never heard somebody talk about the power of stories, but we cannot underestimate the power of stories, because something new happens when you bring stories over the span of time. And not just true stories or Bible stories or biographies, just flat out stories over time. Something new happens. So let's talk about what happens when family stories are shared over time. When family stories are shared, we deepen that sense of tribe, and a kid gets a sense of identity. Remember that vacation we went on. Remember that car accident that we got into and our bright yellow beetle bug, and we sat around eating a case of Satsumas waiting for the insurance to handle it? Like, when you tell family stories over time, a sense of tribe and identity is firmed up into a kid. When we share culture stories over time, and Elise was a perfect example of that this morning, talking about what her experiences were on her first missions trip. She developed a great sense of empathy through that experience. Stories pull our minds out to that same place, even when our bodies can't go. And cultural stories develop a worldview, that global citizen of who I am in the grand spectrum of the world, how I interact with that, how life works, how other people see me on the other side of me. This worldview is incredibly powerful through cultural stories. And then Bible stories ignite the imagination about a God that is utterly different. We interact with each other all of the time, and we can see pieces of God all over the place. But Bible stories pull us up to ignite our imagination about who God is, how big he is, and write a narrative about him that can carry us through the difficult times. Bible stories have an incredibly impactful. But stories over time produce perspective on all of the big rocks in life. My narrative about God, developing my faith, developing my value system, what my narrative is to live a successful life, who I am as self, and how other people are. What my narrative is about them and how I interact with them. It cements all of the big rocks in life. Stories over time. Don't underestimate them. In fact, almost every industry uses that's an overstatement. I'm all kinds of imagination. Many industries use some form of imagination to succeed. Sports uses visualization. They picture the play unfolding when they are not in the game, so that when they're in the game, they have practiced that in their head to make it happen. Imagination is ignited when we set goals. In business, there's a thing called a BHAG, which is a big, hairy, audacious goal. They use the imagination of what could be to spark productivity in the now. It's an incredibly powerful tool. Jesus used parables. They were not true stories. They're stories that could be true. They were not true stories. They were stories that he made up in order to illustrate a point or to bring a concept home or to help people picture what he was trying to teach. He knew the power of stories, and Goals is a picture of what could be in order to inspire the now. True stories produce empathy and a connection to God. Fiction stories produce courage and the could-be idea. There is a reason why we are drawn to characters like Frodo. There's a reason why we're drawn to characters like Katniss Everdeen, or Nancy Drew, or Harry Potter. These stories and these characters develop in our minds pictures of what could be and who we want to be. Stories invite kids into a larger narrative where they're designed to play a significant role. All of our favorite characters were the hero, the heroine of their story for the most part. That's why we read these stories, to pull us into that moment. Behind the scenes, here's just a list of some of the things that use of our imagination does. It constantly points us to the struggle between good and evil that is real in life, even if the book that we're reading is fiction. It constantly reminds us that there is a struggle between good and evil, the potential of a person or the potential of pulling persons together into a team. It constantly points to the existence of the supernatural. Again, even when we're reading fiction books that we know are not supernatural, when we have spent time in our imaginations dreaming up about supernatural things and miraculous powers like superheroes, it helps us believe in a big God, even if it's not a direct correlation, and the possibility of what could be. But it also prepares us and the kids that read them to face whatever happens. Every story has a plot line that does this, and yet you're watching these characters take the next step whenever life hits them this way, and it prepares them to stand in the face of that. It compels them to take risks, it challenges them to do something significant with their lives, and it moves them to believe in the power of good to triumph over evil. And this is just fiction stories, just fiction. You want to throw Bible stories in there? You want to throw testimony stories in there? When we start to share our stories, story has an incredible, powerful effect. So when we go to apply it, this is another place where you might just be patting yourself on the back because you're already doing it. Families, empower readers. Maximize that time right before they go to bed. How powerful is it to read something and then fall asleep with those thoughts swirling in your head? So powerful. Adults, not a bad lesson. That might be one of those. I need to catch this so that I teach it. Empower readers, and then also monitor your own stories. Oof, this is so convicting to me. I have a storyteller in my head that interprets what is happening in my life and the feedback that I get from people. And sometimes she's a meanie. And I have to monitor the stories that I'm telling myself. So I am intentional about what I read or watch before I go to bed. I am intentional about the books that I bring into my world. This might seem silly, you guys, but these books all came into my world in the last 2 years to help me with the journey that I'm on. I'm monitoring my stories. This is a child's book that I passed in Costco, but she makes me love her. She caught my eye. I like myself because I'm me. There's no one else I'd rather be. I like my fingers and my toes. I like my eyes, my ears, and nose. And it goes on about her awesome attributes. I'm not joking. For a month, this was my bedtime story because I needed this story in my heart. And it just goes on. Somebody gave me a book for Christmas about what to do with a chance that just touched me because I am praying about a chance that God set in front of me. And I needed a kid's book to condense it down so that it can just go in. I have other ones that are adultish, like monitor your stories might be the thing you take home today in order for kids to catch off of you the stories that you want them to hear. For influencers, maximize your sharing. Tell the stories. So Friday, I did my first mud bath. Has anybody done an old school mud bath, volcanic ash mud bath? Okay, it's mortifying. And they do not prepare you at all for that process. I'll just say there's not a lot of dignity to be had in mud baths. There's a lot of detoxification. There's a lot of relaxation once you get over body image issues. But the story that I learned this last Friday, when I share that with the teenage girls in my world, it's stinking hilarious. I mean, it is a hilarious story. While we laugh about that, we are absolutely talking about body image. We are absolutely talking about shame tapes that we all play. We are absolutely talking about serious business while we are laughing our butts off at mud and the places that it goes. Influences, maximize sharing and retell stories. Whatever your shared stories are with that kid that you are trying to empower, tell them the story and tell them over and over and over and over again. It does so much good for their hearts to be walked down memory lane in that way. And the New Life, we're going to maximize and approach stories and utilize stories in entirely different ways than we ever have before. All I'm going to say is next Sunday at 2, you got to come hear what God is doing in our next gen areas, because we're going to use stories in a different way. And then lastly is fun. Fun over time produces connection. And listen, fun is serious business, you guys. Some of us, we actually act like fun is serious business. we sort of treat fun like a special occasion, like it's a thing that we go to and have happen, as opposed to when you watch a kid, they live in funland. Fun is that beetle bug that is crossing my path right now. Fun is all around them, but we lose some of that, and sometimes I think we lose it and we shun it as though it's not mature. Fun for fun's sake is incredibly powerful, and I'll go through this as fast as I can, but we are not skipping a fun little video. God, I believe, displayed that fun is serious business by putting fun in all over nature, and I don't mean to bring nature every single time I come up here, but that's how I see God, so it just happens. Dolphins play, dogs play, cats play, so many different animals out there play for fun's sake. I see God in that. We're just going to watch a few moments of an otter, who I think might be my spirit animal. Hit that, Jessica. Oh my gosh! You do not want to know how many times this week I watched this video. They juggle rocks, you guys. There is no good reason in nature that otters need to have the skill of juggling rocks. This is not a survival technique. It could signal hunger. It could. It is their little tool. All right, Jess, we got to cut that short. All right. I believe God wove fun. Does it keep going on? There was one that had 3, totally managing it, completely managing it. Nature has a play drive, I believe, that points to something about God. That he, in the whole fight or flight, survival of the fittest business, fun is still part of our natural world. But also, I believe God's creation reflects a nature about him that suggests he likes fun for fun's sake. Did you know that there are 750 different types of butterflies? Yes! There are 11,000 types of moths. If you're God and you create a butterfly to do a particular job, why don't you just create a lot of the same butterfly? Why create so many different kinds of butterflies? I grew up with this poster, which is a picture of butterfly wings from around the world. It has the English alphabet somewhere on butterfly wings and our numbers. God did not have to do that. That's not a thing he has to do. He just does. Why would God create a platypus? You guys, do you know what a platypus looks like? Why? Why create that current that's right? I should have looked this up. What's the current that's in Turtle Talk with Crush? Yes. Dang it, that's going to bother us all. Why underwater currents? We already have a whole ocean. Why rivers inside of the ocean? Why? Why salmon that live part of their lives in freshwater and part of their lives in saltwater? Why? Nature just points to a God that likes fun. And fun might not be a word that is in the Bible, but all of his cousins are. Rejoice, dance, sing, celebrate joy. The fruit of the Spirit is joy. God instituted a boatload of parties. If you've ever read your Old Testament, they are like packed full. Every time they turn around, they're having a holiday. He loves fun. But fun for fun's sake does something incredibly important. Fun connects us. And here's a couple of ways. It reconnects the disconnected. It convinces a kid that we like them. We don't just love them. We're not obligated to them. We like them. It fosters resilience. Even when life hits me and it's ugly, there's something to laugh about. There's something to cut loose about. It fosters resilience. This is not the only thing happening in the world, this sad or hard thing. And it authenticates forgiveness. Have you ever had a friendship that went through a bump? The next time you laugh and all of your guards are down and you're having a good time, it re-cements that relationship. Yeah, we're okay. We're bigger than this bump. We're fine. It authenticates forgiveness. Fun, you guys, is serious business. It's serious business, but it should not look like serious business. It should look like the otter. All right, apply it. Families, leverage it. You have moments. Some of you that I know, parents, you are the best at the 2-second party. That shared eye contact, that giggle, that moment. Man, some of you leverage this so well. Keep doing it. Influencers, initiate it. Telling a story about a mud bath is a super serious business, but it should initiate these things, initiate fun. And then New Life, we're going to strategize it. It's all part of that next gen overhaul that we are doing. Fun plays a significant role in what we're going to do in this tribe over there in our next gen spaces. We will be talking about that next Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Community Update. RCP for childcare on your Connect card. Okay, super fun. Elise, will you walk us out of this morning, please?
Lady, here I am. All right. Tribes, stories, and fun. As she was talking, I thought, well, I think I've done a good job of building my tribes, but I think it's time to start building some intentional tribes for my kids, so I really like that. And the fun, we do like the dance party. You turn up the music, and the bass is like our windows are vibrating in our vehicle. And we're like, yeah! My kids love that. That is fun for us. Okay, if this is your first time here, please hit up the guest kiosk in the lobby. We have a gift from us to you. It is a mug with some other fun things inside. Please grab that on your way out. We would love for you to have it. And as we close up, this is when our guest services team is going to come on up, and you get to put your Start Here card and your investment envelope in the baskets as they pass. While they are passing baskets, our band is going to rock us out. So I hope you have a great Sunday. Enjoy.
All right, we're going to ask you to multitask. Because we're going to have fun for fun's sake. So I'm going to invite you to stand up onto your feet. We're going to go like this. Day after day, you never change. Ever the same, there's hope in your name. Are the fire that's burned up. Ever you reign, so we're lifting you. Come on, everybody. All right, come on, somebody. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Everybody shout, make it loud. All of heaven sing, hear the sound. Let the praises ring, your renown. Every day we live, every day we live to praise you. We're gonna sing breath after breath, breath after breath. We're so alive. Never would change, 'cause you rescued our lives. The first and the last, no one in between. Ever the King, you're the song that we sing. Everybody. Come on, somebody. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Everybody shout, make it loud. All of heaven sing, hear the sound. Let the praises ring, glory now. And every day we live to praise you. All right, you guys have a great Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you back here next week.
Hey, brother, there's an endless road to rediscover. Hey, sister, know the water's sweet, but blood is thicker. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Hey, brother, do you still believe in one another? Hey, sister, do you still believe in love? I wonder. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't
something I couldn't replace. I was running away from the only thing I've ever known.
Like a blind dog without a bone, I was a gypsy lost in the twilight zone. I hijacked a rainbow and crashed into a pot of gold.
I've been there, done that, I ain't looking back on the seeds I've sown. Saving times, spending too much time on the telephone. Who says you can't go home? Who says you can't go home? There's only one place they call me one of their own. Just a hometown boy, born a rolling stone. Who says you can't go home? Who says you can't go back? Been all around the world and as a matter of fact, there's only one place left I wanna go. Who says you can't go home? It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright.
I went as far as I could, tried to find a new face. There isn't one of these lines that I would erase. Lived a million miles of memories on that road.
Every step I take, I know that I'm not alone. You take the home from a boy, but not the boy from his home. These are my streets, the only life I've ever known. Who says you can't go home? Who says you can't go home? There's only one place they call me one of their own. Just a hometown boy, born a rolling stone. Who says you can't go home? Who says you can't go back? Been all around the world and as a matter of fact, there's only one place left I wanna go. Who says you can't go home? It doesn't matter where you are,
Doesn't matter where you go,
if it's a million miles away
or just a mile up the road.
take it in, take it with you when you go. Who says you can't go home? Who says you can't go back? Been all around the world and as a matter of fact, there's only one place left I wanna go. Who says you can't go home? It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Who says you can't go home? It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Who says you can't go home? It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Who says you can't go home?
Alabama, Arkansas, I do love my mom and pop, not the way that I do love you.
Well, holy moly, me oh my, you're the apple of my eye. Girl, I never loved one like you.
Man, oh man, you're my best friend. I scream it too. There's nothing that, there ain't nothing that I need.
Well, hot and heavy pumpkin pie, chocolate candy, Jesus Christ, ain't nothing please me more than you. Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
kid came jumping out after me.
Well, you fell on the concrete and nearly broke your ass, and you were bleeding all over the place, and I rushed you out to the hospital. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Well, there's something I never told you about that night.
What did you tell me?
While you were sitting in the back seat smoking a cigarette you thought was going to be your last, I was falling deep, deeply in love with you, and I never told you till just now. Let me go home. Home is when I'm alone with you. Home. Let me go home. Home is when I'm alone with you. Home. Let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
Oh, home. Yes, I am home. Home is when I'm alone with you. Alabama, Arkansas. I get up my car and car. North and west and waterfall. Ready, wait to take my
People try to put us to down, talking about my generation, just because we get around. Talking about my generation, things they do look awful. Talking about my generation, I hope I die before I get old. Talking about my generation, this is my generation, baby. Why don't you all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say. I'm not trying to cause a big sensation. I'm just talking about my generation. My generation. This is my generation, baby. Why don't you all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say. I'm trying to cause a big sensation. Just talking about my generation. This is my generation. This is my generation, baby. People try to put us to down, talking about my generation, just because we could get around. Talking about my generation, things they do look awful cold. My generation, I hope I die before I get old.